and welcome to News Round, the recap of stories that made the headlines during the week. Our top stories. Rivers on edge as House of Assembly moves to impeach Governor Fubara and his deputy over alleged misconduct. FCT Minister Wike and APC National Secretary Basiru clash over Rivers political crisis. Court grants former Attorney General Abubakar Malami, two others, 500 million naira bail each in money laundering case. Tehran hospitals overwhelmed amidst protests as crackdown continues. President Trump warns U.S. will get involved. Let's begin with a fresh move on Thursday to impeach Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy, Professor Ngozi Odu, with the Rivers State House of Assembly serving both of them impeachment notices. The lawmakers are pulling no punches, citing gross misconduct and fiscal irresponsibilities as the reasons behind this drastic move.
It's the first plenary of 2026 at the Rivers State House of Assembly, and it's a power-packed one.
Good morning, distinguished colleagues.
Relying on Section 188 of the Constitution, the majority leader of the House, Honorable Major Jack, brings to the attention of the Speaker a notice of allegations of gross misconduct leveled against the governor by lawmakers. The notice contains 7 allegations against Governor Siminalayi Fubara.
Gross misconduct 1. Reckless and unconstitutional expenditure of public funds contrary to Section 120, 121, 122, and 122 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. Excellencies, as Siminalayi Fubara, DSSRS, Governor of Rivers State, authorized or approved withdrawals from the Consolidation Revenue Fund of Rivers State in 2024 financial year of Rivers State without an appropriation law duly passed by the Rivers State House of Assembly, contrary to Section 120 of the Constitution, and that contracts, including the construction of the new Rivers State House of Assembly chambers and auditorium, were awarded without approval of the Rivers State House of Assembly.
After him, the deputy majority leader brings another notice of allegations of gross misconduct, this time against the deputy governor.
Gross misconduct 1. Reckless and unconstitutional expenditure of public funds contrary to sections 120, 121, paragraph 1 and 2, and 122 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended.
That's not all, as the Deputy Speaker brings a motion to decline actions on the medium-term expenditure framework and the Appropriation Bill 2026 until investigations on the allegations of gross misconduct against the governor and deputy governor of Rivers State are concluded.
Mr. Speaker, convinced that the governor is incorrigible, Mr. Speaker, the emphasis are mine, cannot be trusted to abide by the Constitution, our groundlord, sir, or heed to peaceful agreement against, sir, and does not show respect to the office and the person of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, sir. Further convinced, sir, that waiting for the conclusion of the investigation of allegation of gross misconduct against the governor and deputy governor before proceeding with the consideration and financial approval by the House is the best thing to do, is the best way to go, sir.
In his intervention, the Speaker, who is visibly angry, berates the governor and his deputy, saying their continued stay in office is detrimental to democracy in the states.
It is a mistake. Rivers State has never had it this bad. In the entire Nigeria, Siminalayi Fubara and Professor Ngozi Odu, these are the only 2 people in the office at the sub-national level that are yet to present 2026 appropriation bill. The entire country. Rather than follow due process, what the governor has decided to do is to save money, change it to dollars, to subvert the will of the Rivers people, to subvert the Constitution. Since May 29th, 2023, Siminalayi Fubara and Ngozi Odu were sworn in. They have never
never for once issued any statement of account of Rivers State. Not once. Elders that we respect are supposed to call him to order. They are going to tell him that what he's doing is good. Rather than calling on the governor, they are calling on our FCT minister, who is helping Mr. President in Abuja, and making it look like it's a problem between the FCT minister and the governor. It is not FCT minister and the governor. It is the governor and the constitution. The governor is a threat to our democracy. We cannot continue to allow this to happen. We sit here, elected people, and we cannot follow, we cannot enforce the constitution. Then why are we here? Why are we sitting here? Why were we elected? Enough is enough.
Remember, this is what started and led to the declaration of a state of emergency. It is happening again. From the Rivers State House of Assembly quarters, Port Harcourt, Charles Oporum, Channels Television News.
Earlier on Monday, the FCT minister, Mr. Nyesom Wike, accused some political leaders in Rivers State of misleading Governor Fubara and reneging on agreements previously reached with President Bola Tinubu. Speaking at a rally in Rivers State, Mr. Wike stressed that the presidential accord must be respected to preserve peace and political stability, while criticizing the APC National Secretary, Mr. Wike-Basiru, for meddling.
Continuing his thank you tour of Rivers State, FCT Minister Nyesom Wike is warmly received in Akinima, the administrative headquarters of Ahoda West local government area. The visit draws a massive crowd cutting across the PDP and APC, with stakeholders declaring their readiness to follow Mr. Wike's political direction going forward.
Your Excellency, the good people of Ahoda West and the bad people of Ahoda West, we have decided that wherever you will instruct for us to follow, we will follow.
Rest assured that come 2027, Ahoda West is going to deliver a result, especially working with my brother here in a coalition, the Renewed Hope family. We are going to deliver and you'll be very happy.
In his response, the FCT minister expresses satisfaction with the show of unity, describing Rivers State as a model where party structures have collapsed in support of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
I told the country, I never hid it. I said, listen, as far as Bola Ahmed Tinubu is concerned, there's nothing to think about it. He has to complete his 8 years because he has shown Rivers State love. Who would ever believe in this world that a Rivers man will be a minister of the Federal Capital Territory? Who would ever believe that? And by the grace of God, we are doing very well. You can see that Rivers State is respected because of what we are doing in the Federal Capital Territory.
Mr. Wike also issues a warning to political rivals, insisting that the next political contest in Rivers State will not be business as usual.
We are lucky. We are not opposing Mr. President. Are we opposing him? No. We agree that he will go. But Rivers State to own this one. This one. You don't say, can you don't now? But we will get somebody who we can trust, who we can go home and sleep with our 2 eyes closed.
The visit also features endorsements from the local government chairman, members of the National Assembly, and support groups, all describing the minister as a stabilizing force in Rivers politics. As political activities gradually build towards 2027, the Ahoda West visit further signals shifting alignments and growing momentum around President Tinubu's re-election bid in Rivers State. Charles Oporum, Channels Television News.
And on Tuesday, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory made it clear that there was no written agreement between him and President Tinubu during the 2023 general elections. According to him, the decision to support President Tinubu was based on trust and conviction, not any formal political deal.
You don't agree, you stand for your house,
The minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, was in Degema on Tuesday in continuation of his thank you visits across river states. In their remarks, the minister's supporters pledged their loyalty for him and President Tinubu as 2027 approaches.
Your Excellency, you have said that Tinubu is our incoming president.
Yes, sir.
And we must, as a local government, be behind you. Your Excellency will never put you to shame.
We don't have much to give. But we are telling you, today, give us the instruction. And you know, as always, Degema will follow. Degema will follow.
When it's his turn to address the crowd, he reveals that he didn't have any written agreements with President Tinubu in the build-up to the 2023 elections, and that the president has shown love to Rivers people.
We did not sit down with Mr. President and say you will do this. We would never do that. But all I know he told us was, go and support us. When we win, we'll make sure your state is heavily compensated, is heavily rewarded. We did not sit down to say this is an agreement. But there are some people who have an agreement, we had an agreement. All we are saying, keep to the agreement we have. Is that so? If you cannot keep to an agreement, it's dangerous to do any business with you.
Agreement is agreement to you. Agreement is agreement to you. As a you don't reach for settlement, yes, you don't mean nonsense. Agreement is agreement.
From there, Mr. Wike pays a visit to the palace of Asari Dokubo, where he asks the agitator turned monarch and his supporters to steer clear of politics. Responding, Asari Dokubo promises to back the minister because of their long-term relationship.
I'm here is to talk to them and people, let them know why we want to support the president. That's why we have a social effect. That majorly what brought us to together. I was not a traditional ruler in 1992. I was not a traditional ruler. I never thought I would ever become what I am today. We have had that closeness, and I think that we are going to use it. He has stood by me in my most difficult period, and it is now my turn to also stand by.
This is the second traditional ruler the minister is advising to steer clear of politics as the battles between him and his successor intensifies. Charles Soporum, Channels Television News.
The former Labour Party vice presidential candidate, Mr. Dati Baba Ahmed, says that he will remain in the Labour Party despite Peter Obi's defection to the African Democratic Congress ADC. Speaking at the Labour Party diaspora event in Abuja on Wednesday, Mr. Baba Ahmed said he's positioning himself to fix Nigeria ahead of 2027 and dismissed the ADC as a platform for disgruntled politicians.
This is the first major event of the Labour Party following the move of its presidential candidate in the 2023 election, Mr. Peter Obi, to the African Democratic Congress. Leaders of the party are attending this meeting, which is a collaboration with diaspora members of the party. The vice presidential candidate of the party in the 2023 election used the opportunity to speak on the defection of Mr. Peter Obi to the African Democratic Congress, vowing to stay with the Labour Party to fix Nigeria.
I have not left Labour Party because I am not satisfied with a coalition of disgruntled politicians who could not even challenge 2023 constitutional breaches. I will not leave Labour Party because of the promise it holds. I therefore remain a loyal Labour Party member, and I make myself available to fix Nigeria.
The chairman of the party, Mr. Julius Aburi, thanks Nigerians for standing by the party and urges the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to upload the details of its candidates for the forthcoming FCT Area Council elections.
These are Nigerians who want to be partakers, who want to participate in the electoral process. And I think that is their constitutional right to be allowed to participate. It is their right to participate in the election. And as a party, we have done all we needed to do within the ambit of the law to get INEC to upload them.
Amidst the defection from the party, a member of the House of Representatives has a message for his colleagues.
The campaign is not an offense. To choose the direction to go to is not an offense. What is an offense is the campaign and still sitting in the position that you were elected into by the party that sponsored you there. That is the offense. It's unacceptable. I mean, reference to every person, every legislator that is decamping, from one party to another, ought not to be there. Does not need a court order. It doesn't need a court interpretation. The constitution is clear. Shall vacate the seat.
The leadership of the party is planning to mobilize more Nigerians ahead of the 2027 general election, as well as other elections later this year. Dili Omoyeni, Channels Television News.
To legal matters now, Justice Emeka Nwite of the Federal High Court, Abuja, has granted former Attorney General of the Federation, Mr. Abubakar Malami, and two others bail of 500 million naira each with two sureties. On Wednesday, the court ordered that the sureties must own landed property in Asokoro, Meitara, and Gwarimpa, submit their travel documents, verify property ownership, amongst others.
The former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mr. Abubakar Malami, arrives at the Federal High Court, Abuja, for the ruling on his bill application. Beaming with smiles, he exchanges pleasantries with his associates.
How are you? I'm doing well. How are you doing? Oh, very well, thank you. How's the night? Yeah, very good.
Mr. Malami, his wife and son are facing a 16 counts charge to the tune of 9 billion naira brought against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. They were arraigned on December 30 last year and had been in the custody of the Kuje Correctional Center after the hearing of the bill application. However, the trial judge, Justice Emeka Nwite, had granted them 500 million naira bail each, with two sureties who must have landed properties in Maitama, Asokoro, and Gwarimpa districts. The former AGF and his sureties were also ordered to deposit their two recent passport photographs with the court. The former AGF must not travel out of the country without the permission of the court. Meanwhile, they are to be remanded at the Kuje Correctional Center, pending the perfection of their bail conditions. The judge further warned the counsel to the AGF to desist from approaching him for any favor, cautioning that his leniency should not be taken for granted, as he is unapproachable.
We are comfortable with the bail conditions, and we are hopeful that within a reasonable time, we'll fulfill those bail conditions, and the defendants will be released and prepare for their defense. Yes. The issue of self-recognizance, it's actually in respect of the first defendant. Well, we are not disappointed about that. Issues of bail is entirely at the discretion of the court, and the court, based on the affidavit evidence before it, rightly held that it is satisfied that the defendant, particularly the first defendant, will not in any way interfere with the prosecution witnesses, and he will make himself available for trial.
Justice Emeka Nwite subsequently fixed February 17 for the commencement of trial.
The U.S. intervention in Venezuela has raised eyebrows for the global South, which has mainly natural resources to its advantage. At the special roundtable of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs in Lagos on Tuesday, international relations experts shared their thoughts on the legality of the U.S. action, proposed response, and protection for countries' natural resources.
As details surrounding the U.S. capture of the Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro, and his trial in the United States begins to unravel, Nigeria's foremost international relations think tank put together a special roundtable to discuss the issues and preparation for what they describe as a new world order.
More than ever before, there is now pressing need for the third world to enhance its solidarity and invent the idea of a third neutral force in the world order, to press for the idea of a new international world order, different from the new international world order, which has led to the emergence of hegemons.
While the U.S. has violated various articles in the UN Charter and other international laws, this is a catch-22 situation, as the U.S. helped in making the laws, while over-dependence on the United States inflates its ego above the laws.
Regime change is not a lawful justification for the use of force under international law.
I want to remind you, the Americans helped write these laws you've been quoting to us as if they don't know. They know it. They wrote it. And they are violating it with impunity. And that's simply because, Your Excellency, sir, over the last couple of years, we have encouraged the United States. We have enabled the United States. Anytime there's a global crisis, who do we turn to? The United States.
The experts rule out direct defiance against the United States, opting instead for a unified approach.
You cannot afford isolated responses. The kinds of responses that can work are collective responses. We need coalitions. We need to build strong coalitions. Advocacy, that's the key thing.
Here's a summary. The United States foreign policy remains complex, and its actions driven by national self-interest and shifting presidential doctrines, which dominate the game of international relations. Countries will need to strengthen their bargaining power to remain on the table. Amarachi Ubani, Channels Television News.
Finally, on Newsround, doctors at hospitals in the Iranian capital say they are overwhelmed with injury cases from ongoing anti-government protests in the country. One said an eye hospital in Tehran had gone into crisis mode, while another did not have enough surgeons to cope with the influx of patients. It comes as the government tries to clamp down on those protests and calls for a return of Iranian monarchy. On Friday, U.S. President Donald Trump said Iran was in big trouble and warned that the U.S. will start shooting if more protesters are killed. Since protests began on December 28th last year, at least 50 protesters and 15 security personnel have been killed, and that's according to the U.S.-based human rights activist news agency, which states that more than 2,311 individuals have also been arrested. That's the Newsround today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Melinda Akinwumi.